Hi, Marns. How are you?
I'm good. How are you going?
So good. Broden's not here.
Your headphones have pushed your hair down at the side, so it's all just fluffy up here. It's like you've got a mullet.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I think it looks great.
Oh, that's a weird camera I've got you on, actually. I should change it. It's not a big deal. I'm filming the other angle of you as well, but it's not auto cutting to the right one. Do you know what I mean? I should change it.
Okay.
I like
Well,
that.
I actually might just put my glasses on because I've been getting bad headaches this week.
You do you.
We're nice and set up and prepared.
Always. But, you know, sometimes until you go live, you don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know.
And we don't have Broden here to steer the ship.
Exactly, and to make jokes. Hopefully that's better.
Is that better? How am I looking?
Mine's, it's exactly the same.
Oh, yay!
It didn't work at all.
Do you want me to move?
No. It's not a you problem whatsoever. It's just, hey, you might not even hate it. I'll show you. So that was the angle I was going for of you.
Oh yeah, I think it's
that one that's showing.
I think I look better in the second one.
Then I'm stoked for you.
Yeah.
I'll just send something like that. Maybe get a bit of the screen in.
What does the people think? Is this a good
Get a
angle?
bit of the footy in, you know?
Yeah.
Is that a vibe?
Got to make it straight. Yeah, I think that's yeah.
Great. We're on fire.
Woohoo! I feel like I'm on holidays, even though I'm not. It's like Broden's like the teacher's not here. We can just play.
Greg says, better than Pappenhausen's mullet. I don't know who that is.
Ryan Pappenhausen plays for Storm.
Oh.
He's very little, but very good. He's like, you can tell, he's like little especially compared to the other players. I love his mullet, and I think everyone else loves his mullet. But my father does not. My father, worst mullet in the NRL.
Are you going to talk about the NRL in your new segment?
I don't think people will want to hear about the NRL.
Great. I wanted to hear your angle because I heard that you quite enjoyed the grand final.
I hated myself so much for biting. I understand that they have to fill trade radio and that like they literally just post things to get a reaction.
Yeah, correct.
But Kane being like, the NRL is basically unwatchable is his whole vibe. And I was like, just because you like AFL folk can't just like trash the NRL just because like they don't get it. Like fuck off then. Like don't watch it then.
Yeah, 100%. I didn't even know it was on.
Oh, yeah. And I should have left it alone.
No, fuck it. Bite, man. Fucking bite. I love it.
I was like, don't watch it then. You don't need to go on radio and say that, like, there are no highlights.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
I mean, there were so many highlights. One ball going to the ground over and over again, filling my fucking Twitter feed with this one slow-mo shot of this one fucking ball.
That didn't hit the ground, and that's the point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rebecca says go off, Marns. Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually ended up deleting the tweet.
Did you actually?
Yeah, because I was feeling anxious, and I was like, there's no point me feeling anxious.
Yeah.
I'll just delete it, and then I won't feel anxious anymore.
Yeah, 100%. Good call.
Because, yeah.
Yeah, but still, I think the point you made about being like, I watch it with my family or whatever, or people watch with their family who enjoy the sport. So
Yeah.
who cares? Like, as long as they enjoyed it, who cares?
Literally, like, and then him being like, there were no highlights, therefore it's a shocker of a sport, being like, well, I enjoyed watching it with my best friend and my father.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun. Is that not that, like, the sport then doing what it's supposed to do as entertainment?
That's so valid. 100%.
God. Anyway.
All right. Should we launch into the episode? That's the question.
We should. Are you doing the intro?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
You're steering this ship. I'm here for comedic relief.
I didn't even think about that I would have to do an intro.
No, you don't have to. I can wing one for sure, if you want.
Should I try and do the welcome?
Yeah.
Okay.
And be like, I'm in Japan, so it's just Marnie and Tom. You can do it as Broden. It'd be fun. Anything else to say before we start? Oh, yeah, Perth lost the NRL bid. Is that super backwards by NRL or what?
I don't know, actually. I don't know the vibe enough. I'm not in NRL circles to know what, like, the vibe is.
It seems
properly.
like the Perth people didn't want a Sydney team. That was one of the big issues, like a Sydney legacy team. But, all right, ready when you are, man.
Okay.
No pressure.
I'm feeling a lot of pressure. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Footy with Broden Kelly. Without Broden Kelly, Melbourne are 13th on the ladder with only 1.5 wins. One was a draw this season in the AFLW. So Broden said, fuck this, and went to Japan, leaving just me and Tom. Hey, Tom.
Hi.
Oh, wait, hold on. Bounce that pill.
Right.
Oh, okay. Hey, Tom.
Hi, Marns. How are you?
Good. How are you going?
Oh, so good. Good to see you again after not seeing you last week.
Weird. I feel like because our lives are so busy and we do so much, a week and a half feels like a month.
Oh, yeah, especially because we were on the road the week before, so
Yeah,
I saw you like every day.
Every day for a week.
And then see you later, Marns.
Yeah. Really weird.
Yeah, it's
And
good.
also because, like, I have a new job now. I feel like a new person.
Everything's changing.
Isn't it back in the top 8?
Getting hot. How was your new job? How was Korea?
Korea was great. I went to Seoul for 3 days to see my sister, which is a lot of being in transit. And also because I was like, I'm pretty small. So do you know that this trick will not relate to you.
Okay, great.
Because I learned it off TikTok. But you get like the seat belt and you like put it around your legs. Like you bundle up like this.
Oh.
I was like, I don't know how to describe it for the listeners to understand. Like you put
you're
your feet
a
on the
diver
seat.
and you're about to do a somersault.
Yeah, and then you just strap your legs in like that with the seatbelt, and it's actually quite comfortable. And so I was like, I'll be able to get like a decent enough sleep. I don't want to miss a whole day, so I would just get a plane overnight both times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't work out.
Well, also because like the transit was like I was getting off the plane at like half midnight and back on at 1 a.m. or whatever. It's not restful.
No, travel is not conducive to resting in any way.
So even like I arrived at like 9:50 a.m. in Seoul and my sister picked me up, which was lovely. But I was like, I just need to go nap for an hour before I can be sociable.
Yeah, totally.
So I was there for 3 days. I realized I was there for like 2.5.
Yeah, I should do that seatbelt train next time I'm on a plane.
Well, I think that it works for me because I'm 5'2".
Yeah,
and I
the
weigh.
seatbelt barely fits around my tummy, but I reckon I could get my feet up in there as well.
Okay. Good luck.
Yeah, 100%. And so 2.5 days and then home.
Yes. Yeah. And then I got home and my dad picked me up from the airport on the other way because
Lovely.
he was in Melbourne for around the bay. And then we watched the NRL grand final. Penrith have won their 4th in a row, which is just a bit ridiculous.
That sounds insane. That feels like, I feel like 3-peat is the one that the AFL people do. But
Yeah,
4
yeah.
seems insane.
Yeah. Like winning 1 is so hard. Can you imagine being so good you can win 4 in a row?
Yeah, and I've never even heard of Penrith.
Okay.
Like if it was one of the big teams like the Roosters.
But you've heard of Nathan Cleary.
No.
Really?
No, I don't think so.
Mary
I think
Fowler's
he's
boyfriend.
a journalist. Mitch Cleary.
Okay.
No, I have heard of Mary Fowler's boyfriend from You.
Yes.
But that is the only place.
Yeah, funny. I enjoy the thought of Mary Fowler having to tell her UK teammates about her boyfriend playing in the NRL grand final and just her like explaining who the Penrith Panthers are. I enjoyed thinking about that.
Yeah, that is fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
100%. And then you started a new job.
Yeah, I work at the ABC now.
Oh, it's so great.
Yeah. Yep.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it feels, I'm really disorientated. I think it's also because like I took a week off between jobs, but I traveled in that.
Yeah.
Like
you flew, what, 32 hours in like 5 days or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane. That is
super relaxing.
Yeah, I feel scattered. Yeah, no wonder.
And yeah, because my whole identity was wrapped up in being like an age person and an age journalist, as well as other things. But like when I would introduce myself and stuff, I would always be like Marnie from the age.
Yep.
Not at bars, that would be a wanker thing to do, but you know what I mean? Like,
that's so funny. You should definitely start doing that now.
But just like, because yeah, and even just like when I'm writing emails and stuff, like I've got to train myself now to be like Marnie from ABC, not Marnie from the age, because it was just like it's so muscle memory. And yeah, that job was my whole identity, and then I didn't have that. I literally for a week I was like, I can tweet whatever I want and not get in trouble. And now I'm an ABC person, which is great, but it just feels. I feel like I haven't grounded yet.
Yeah, it'll take a little bit, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but congratulations.
Thank you.
Good to have you back.
How are you?
Oh, so chill.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting about like this.
The podcast,
the podcast, the sport world, you know, like
what is football?
Yeah, after going from 3 pods to 1.
Do you feel like you have more time, or you just?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting so much other stuff done.
Yeah.
And just like focusing on other things.
You're seeing your family.
Yes, like legitimately, like Atlas was sick last week.
Oh.
It was fine. Could stay home a couple of days, work from home, look after him. No stress, not have to worry about getting in the studio and stuff. I know it's only 1 podcast instead of 3, but somehow it feels like all I think about was AFL to now just, oh yeah, sometimes thinking about AFL.
Yeah,
you know?
which is nice.
Yeah, just ignoring
it's
trade radio, like fuck trade radio, couldn't care less. It's great. I'll just keep up with the W news and not have to engage with trade radio. It's great. Anyways, should we do the news?
Yeah. And I feel like it would be good to give people an update on Broden, but all he sent us is about the toilets in Japan and the trains in Japan.
A lot of toilet stuff. I was like, the only thing that I really, really wanted Broden to do while he was in Japan, like something I kept being like, please do this for me. Because obviously I can never go to Japan. I have a young child and a lot of debt.
But at some point in your life, you might be able
hopefully,
to go to
right? But it's like, if I was to go anywhere, it'd be to Greece to see Atlas's fucking 80 relatives that live there, you know? Like, so even just like to not go to Greece would be a big decision, right?
Yeah.
But there's these cream sandwiches. Have you seen them?
No.
They're just like, they look like white bread toasted and they've got cream in them, like almost like a cream-filled crepe. And you can get them from like 7-Eleven and stuff. But then there's like really fancy viral places as well.
I bet.
And I was like, you have to go get it. So finally he sent me a picture and he's like, I've got like the cream sandwich. And I was like, great, awesome. What's the review? He was like, I need to find a toilet. And I was like, yeah, but it was nice. And he was like, I'll let you know once I get back to the hotel.
Oh my God.
I never got the review.
Oh. But
yeah, a lot of toilet gear. He likes how they're like warm seats and stuff.
Yeah, well.
It's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
But he'll tell us all about it next week, I'm sure.
Yeah. News. It's my favourite week in the calendar year.
Yeah.
You might think it's a grand final. It's not. It's Pride Round.
Yeah, fucking A.
Yeah. I was thinking about it. Well, I mean, of course I've been thinking about it a lot, also because I work in the AFLW.
Yeah.
Because you always get questions that pop up, and also because like I've made a few Pride TikToks that I get are like now like I filter through the comments and like I delete the ones that are like gross. Okay. But I do see a bit of like, why do we need this? And sometimes it's genuine questions from people being like, why is it important to have Pride when such a big percentage of the league is like openly out, and like isn't it already inclusive? And then every year players talk to this, so you can find that content pretty easily.
Yeah.
But I thought I would talk about why I loved it so much and why I think it's important if you would allow me.
Yeah, please.
Well, one of the big things is that like the safety element, and I think that this exists within AFLW as a whole because I mean definitely myself and a lot of my friend group have bad experiences at AFL men's games.
Yeah, totally.
Like I remember once just being on this broadcast pilot, and they were like, bring in your like war stories of going to games, and they wanted things like Broden's like leaving early, or like embarrassing things that have happened at games. It's like from a fan perspective. And I was like, if you ask a woman that, they're going to get a very different answer.
Totally.
Because every woman I know has like a war story of at a game that they've been like harassed.
Yes.
At I don't want to say best, but assaulted at worst. You know, like I've had things said and like sometimes like even if I'm feeling like really fragile, like I've had a bad week and I have a headache and I've got my period and I'm feeling a bit emotional, like I just won't go to the footy because I don't want to risk being like, I'm just like, I'm actually not strong enough to encounter the potential of like something bad happening. Where like at AFLW games, that's just like that risk is just not there.
Yeah, totally.
Like at all.
Yeah.
And like and this is not my story to tell, but like one of my friends was once like analysing the game to her friend that she was sitting next to, and someone turned around and said like, what would you know, you fat dyke? And it's just like, that is never gonna happen at an AFLW game. Well, I mean, never say never, but you know what I mean? Like there's just not the risk of that happening. And that is just amplified during Pride round because like I have like trans friends that are just so openly trans at AFLW games, and I don't have to worry that someone's going to yell something mean at them.
Totally.
And I get to like watch all of my friends and all these people that I care about just be like so happy to exist.
Yeah.
And it's so cool and it's so fun and it's just so freeing. Like even the amount of like the interviews that I do around Pride around every year, you have people saying like, it's just a safe place to go and to be yourself. And like, yes, it's really important to like celebrate who we are. And it's very important. Like the education piece is like unbelievably important, arguably the most important part. But for me, like, it's just like, yeah, go and be you. Like, that's so fun to be like you in like the loudest version that you can possibly be at a sports game.
Yeah.
Because like historically sports haven't been very inclusive of like women. But like of LGBTQIA people.
And just not always a safe space, just full stop as well. I feel like I have like always had the privilege and been in the position of feeling never like scared to go to an AFL game, all right? Because I'm a large white male, don't get approached sort of thing. But I think I remember I was on another podcast, a Falcon podcast, and they asked like, when are you going to start taking your son to footy and stuff? And I was like, actually, every time you get to the footy, people yell and say the worst, loudest, most rough stuff, and it's not always safe. And I would not take Atlas to an AFL men's game, I don't think, because I feel like he would get scared and want to go. So, but taking him to a W game, of course, it's completely different. So, yes, I agree with you there, 100%. Yeah,
and it's really cool just like learning about the community because there's so much to learn about the community. There are 4 now openly non-binary players that the competition has had. And even like I was talking to one of them today and they said like you're now seeing as well in other players' profiles online and stuff, like their pronouns changing to like she, her, or they, them, without it being like really loud or whatever. And it's just like, oh yeah, like people are just doing that. Like it's just normal now to be doing that, but also learning about like the non-binary experience, like what it is to be a non-binary person and like does that like gender fluidity exist on a scale or like, and learning about that through this competition that I already love and these players that I already love, like that's cool. Yeah. And the only other thing I will add is like, why is it important? I feel like because it's just like, it's so new, like even though it's like 10 years old. I was reading the article by Kate Dempsey today, the opinion piece on the AFL website, and just who plays for Tigers, Straight plays for Tigers, and Kate just saying like, well, I used to play footy until I was 10 and then I was told I can't play anymore. Like these people are like, it's so recent, it's so real. So we're going to need to make sure that these things are relevant and important until it's just the norm, I think. So it's important until it's the norm is what I'm trying to say, I think. Yeah. Oh, and also, sorry, that just reminded me, when you say that it's only 10 years old, that like it's also like honouring history because so much of women's sports only existed for a long time and were like really built out of like queer spaces. Like that's where queer women would go to be a community before there were elite competitions. And so like a lot of the like pioneers and like the roots of AFLW come from a queer space, so like honouring them. Honouring that. 100%. It's cool. There's so many different parts to it and there's so many things to explore and it's just like such a fun and but also like important thing. Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I think it's just so great in so many different ways to diversify the sport, diversify
everything about it. It's the best way forward to grow the game and to have a better game going forward.
Yeah.
For sure.
And like you and I were talking about this post getting on the microphones because also there's like an element and like a line that now comes out that's like, well, you know, as long as all of this is coupled with education that the players are doing and the clubs are doing, and it's not just a marketing ploy, and yes, 100%, but like many things can be true at once. And also Pride also being a big draw card for people to come to the league is cool. Like if crowds are up because of it, if they're making money off like jerseys, like that's also really cool.
100%. Couldn't agree more. I'm sure you're going to mention it later, but if I was a Hawthorn fan,
no.
I'm getting that Pride jersey.
I
That's
know.
one of the coolest jerseys I've ever seen, right? So it's
cool.
like that's cool. Like it's a bit of a capitalism corporate edge on it, but who cares? Like as long as it goes to the right places, who cares?
Yeah. I know. There is a part of me that feels a little bit bad about all the merch that I own and that I buy, but I'm like, oh my God, like one Taylor Swift plane wouldn't be like 10% of this.
Totally.
And it is so like such a big joyous part of my life that I'm like, I'm just going to let myself off the hook a little bit.
Right. And as long as you don't single use that stuff, as long as you wear it and enjoy it and keep it for a long time, then that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my Bombers Pride scarf, because it's an AFLW one, but I'll wear that to men's games if I go. And then everyone's like, where did you get that scarf from? Because you can't buy like a AFL men's Pride scarf. And I'm like, it actually feels like the coolest thing I own because everyone's always like, what?
Yeah.
Where'd you get that from? And I'm like, the girls.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that. I think it's great.
Are you going to go to a Pride game this week?
I don't know, actually. I haven't even looked at which games because I know I missed all the Suns games.
Yeah.
So they're done now.
That's fine.
But I would, I know. It's sad for me, but it's fine. So yeah, I would love to get down. I really want to go to a W game at Icon.
Yep.
I really want to go to a W game at Mission.
Well, is 7:15 too late for Addie because Bombers play Dogs Friday nights, like the headline Pride game at Whitten Oval?
Yeah, that would be sick because I was telling the people last week, but I went to pick you up on the way to Sydney and just had a little poke around there, and it's a very cool facility and it's very fun. So yes, I would love to go down for that. That would be sick. You'll be going to all of them?
Yeah, I'll be going to a fair few.
yeah, that's sick. Well, I'll see you there then.
I feel like Victoria Park does really good ones, but I'm not sure if because Collingwood play Thursday and it's not their home.
No, they're doing Swinburne, I think.
Yeah.
I
Damn,
saw.
I feel like they do it really well.
That was the one thing I was going to ask. With it being week instead of round, how does it work? Like, are we already because there was a game last night, right? The Saints won against GWS, or was that a few nights ago?
Yeah, and even Sydney's home game on the weekend. Sydney played, oh God, who did they play? But they had they like to celebrate a Pride because they wanted to have like a home Pride.
Yeah, right. So it's not strict, like, you know, you can.
Well, it's strict in terms of painting the arcs in the rainbow. Right. That has a designated.
It has to be this week.
Yeah. But outside of that, you can wear your Pride jumper and like do rainbow stuff whenever you want.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Get down to Frangers, Tom. Someone said in the comments, I'm still so shattered that I couldn't get down to Frankston to see the Suns play. It would have been so much fun, but alas, we had this podcast to do last Wednesday, so...
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, the two Suns games I could have got to, we had Max gone, who we just couldn't move, and then had our Wednesday night pod, so I missed out on the two Suns Victorian games, but is what it is.
And we should have flown to the Gold Coast on Sunday to see Essendon beat Gold Coast.
Hey, we still can. Well, we should have, yes,
yeah.
but we can still fly somewhere to see the Suns lose. That is still...
Well, yeah, so you've looked at the fixture.
Yeah.
Is there any winnable games left?
There are no winnable games, I think.
Is that you being pessimistic, though?
No, like we've got Kangaroos and we've got Brisbane.
Oh.
Should I go through it really quickly?
Yeah.
So this week we got Brisbane, Q Clash, 0, I'll give us 0%.
Yeah.
Then we got Sydney next week.
Oh, you can win that.
Slight chance, right? But I feel like Sydney's like strong and good.
Yeah, like I'll be tipping Sydney, but you can win that.
Then we got Port.
Okay.
Then we got North.
Oh.
So Sydney's the okay, maybe. If things go our way, we can get it done.
Doesn't that suck, though, that you've got like 4 games left and then the season's done?
Yeah, especially because like you were saying earlier off mic, that like if we somehow manage to win the draw against Collingwood and then the two that we were robbed of, by mistakes. You know,
that
if we won them,
it's actually super shit.
we'd almost be in the 8. So, like, you know, it's funny because I feel like that's how we managed to make the 8 last year. I don't think we were really ready for finals, but we somehow just won the right games at the right time and made it in. And I feel like that's great experience, right? And then to come out this year and, we probably won't win a game.
That is tough.
Yeah.
That's actually really tough. That's really tough for the players. Like GWS are in a very similar position where they so round 1 they beat the Dogs by 63 points, and then they had a draw with you.
Yep.
And then they haven't won a game since.
Yep.
And they looked like, and they got belted by Saints last night. They looked shattered.
Yeah.
Like it is tough for them.
Yeah.
Like you train all year
for nothing.
You can't get a good run, and you don't have the chance to develop in season, so that's it, your season's done.
Yeah. The only positive I can draw from it, if I was to give a positive, and I'm happy to be so wrong about this, is it seems like come into the season we were like, Doggies aren't going to win a game, GWS aren't going to win a game, but because there's this huge 7, 8, 9 months off and the players go off and it's so separate, there's a chance that the Suns can come in next year with all this time off, and even though they didn't win a game this year, they can click into gear, get some coaching strategies right, and maybe come out and win 5-6 games.
Yeah.
Whereas it does feel like in the men's, Richmond with the year they just had, like I feel like there's no chance they'll win a game next year either.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
100%.
But like I'm hopeful that the Suns and other teams down the bottom can just get a few things right in these really long, awful off seasons and maybe click in and get some stuff done next year.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Very optimistic.
That's optimistic. That's optimism hat, Tom.
Also very fun part of Pride Round is all the Pride jumpers.
Yes.
It's so fun. I love going through them. You mentioned Hawthorns. Obviously, this is a audio medium, so it's going to be hard to describe.
It,
but the Hawthorn one is it's genuinely work of art. It's very similar to theirs last year.
Yeah, right.
But also teams get a home and away.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so it was like a hawk, but like the wings, I guess, were like sprawling rainbow colours, I would say. Yeah. Is that a good description?
Listening to that description makes it sound like they're like shooting rainbows out of their wings.
That's what it sort of evoked for me. No?
Yeah. It's just like the whole bird and the wings are all rainbow.
Yeah.
But
I get it. So the way I described it is like just like a bird with magic rainbow pouch. Okay, not that.
Oh my god, they should do one with like the rainbow laser eyes.
yeah, that would be sick.
And then everything that like they beam turns into a rainbow.
Yeah. And then Ports I really love because it was like it's the sort of retro that's so cool right now. You know those spray jackets that are so cool? It feels like, I don't know if it's 80s. Did you watch Art Attack as a kid?
No.
Well, I reckon a lot of people in the chat and at home will know what Art Attack is, and it's giving Art Attack to me, and I loved it.
That's cool.
Then the Freo one's sick as well.
Yeah, the Freo one gives me a headache if I stare at it too long because it's like the geometry pattern.
Yeah. Giving me Spire.
I don't know what that is.
Like, you know, on top of the art centre?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's giving me that in a cool way.
Yeah.
And then there was one other one I thought was awesome as well, but I can't remember.
Sydney's my favourite.
Nah.
Other than Hawthorn. I really like Sydney's.
I didn't like Sydney's. I thought, whatevs. I was like, why is it the Opera House? It looks like a swan. I thought it was like supposed to be a swan. Nah, it's all cool. They're all great. But there was one other one I really liked.
The one for me is dogs, and it's because every year the dogs do like have like a trans theme, which is very cool. Also because I feel like that highlights that it's also like, to be clear, AFLW is not like a utopia. There's still issues going on for LGBTQIA people, and there's no trans women that play in the AFLW, and like that's a completely separate debate that we could spend a very long time on.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of like nuance that would go into that argument, and it should be treated with a lot of compassion.
Yeah,
but it is saying that like, putting all of that aside, like you are welcome here, like you are so welcome, and also just like so celebrated. Like the doggies one it's like a strip of blue, light blue, like the baby blue, and then the strip of the baby pink, and then it's like a love heart over the heart of like a rainbow. It's very cool.
Yeah, I really liked it as well.
Yeah, and then I felt a little bit bad about making a TikTok that ribbed into the Melbourne's one a little bit.
Nah, let them have it.
Because Melbourne's one is, they have like a very thin strip on the back. And when I say strip, like I'm so bad at measurements. It's like less than a centimetre. Like
hard to spot.
You can't.
I
see
couldn't. I was looking at this on my Twitch stream and I was like, oh, it's literally it's not there. Like there is none. And people are like, oh no, look on the back, down the bottom. I was like, oh, like I literally couldn't spot it.
Yes, it is very difficult to see. There's a lot of like memes or people being like, you need to get out a magnifying glass to see the rainbow. Yep. And then they have words on their V, and the words are very buzzwordy. They're like understanding, inclusivity, allyship.
Yeah.
And it's also just like in contrast to everyone else's being so loud. And then you've got Melbourne's, which is very so quiet. And I feel like, okay, like all of these jumpers are a creative endeavor, and sometimes creative endeavors like hit with people and sometimes they miss, and that's completely fine, especially because a lot of these jumpers are made by people and they put genuinely a part of their soul into them, right? Like they put so much heart into these jumpers. So before I pointed out that Melbourne's is very minimal, I made sure that it wasn't like, oh, this was designed by this player. It wasn't. Obviously like someone designed it and it was like in collaboration with people obviously like at the club. But what kind of I feel about the Melbourne's jumper is that it's very similar to last year's, and last year's the intent via Melbourne Football Club was we want it to look like our normal jumper, because actually I'm going to make sure I get the wording right, just please. Get it up. Yeah, so they wanted it to look like the traditional, like have the famous V of just a traditional Melbourne jumper. And they didn't want the Guernsey to be too different to the viewer, because as people who live in the LGBTQIA community, they don't feel different day to day and they live in the same environment as everybody else. And then on the inside of the jumper was the pride flag, which that to me is like a lot of fans kind of pointed out that the metaphor there isn't great.
No.
To be putting people back in the closet.
Like if that's...
like you're hiding your pride.
If that's what we're going for, then why does every other club happy to be loud and proud?
Yeah. And I was just like, okay, well, they did something different and they tried with the messaging and okay, sure. Like there was potentially good intent there. But then even though a lot of fans weren't particularly like stoked about it, but then to back it up this year with a Guernsey that is, again, to the eye, basically the same as always, that, I mean, I've seen commentary from fans say that it feels as though they're trying to appease someone on,
on the board,
on the board who's super conservative.
Like, which I'm sure that's not the case, but like, yes, that's what it feels like.
Yeah. 100%. And so if your fans aren't feeling included or seen, which is the whole point of the round, like listen to that. Like, just listen 100%. To that. If that's what fans said last year about the design and then you've done it again, well, then you're not listening,
you're not listening.
To the pride community.
They're not going to move any jumpers.
No,
like some of these other clubs, Hawthorn's going to sell 20,000 and Melbourne's not going to sell any.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you're talking about like the St Kilda one was the other one I really liked.
Oh, yes, the St Kilda one's good.
But I think it'll be divisive. I think a lot of people won't like it.
Why?
But because it's like it's very blocky and it's like immediately I like that style, but I could if like my wife was like, oh, I hate that, I'd understand, But what I love about it is they just swing, and if they miss, that's fine, but take a big fucking swing. And it's like, Melbourne, take a swing like you didn't last year. Take a swing, and like it's okay to miss.
And loud.
Like why are we trying to be like, oh, this is the safe option and we don't want to go too crazy with it? Well, fuck that. It's all about just being out there and going for it this weekend, I feel like.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think it's disappointing.
Yeah. And I think a lot of fans have expressed their disappointment, which is like, as long as Melbourne listen to that, then all G. As long as next year they don't bring out an even more minimal one. Yeah,
I think the one thing that could have saved them is if those words were not just... What's the word you used when it's just poppy, Googleable? Oh,
buzzwords.
If it wasn't buzzwords, if it was something, a specific message from the player group or something that felt really heartfelt and special, was a celebration of something specific, I would almost give them a pass mark. But just buzzwords, it's like, come on.
Same. I said to you before this, I would like I would give them so much. Well, I can't remember wait a second. Oh my God. I would like be so much more forgiving if the words were literally just like gay, lesbian, like bisexual. Like that's cool and fun, but to have like inclusivity, understanding, allyship. Like you've got allyship, but you don't have asexual. Like if you're gonna have one of the A words, have it the one in the alphabet.
100%. Yeah.
Anyway,
negative, but a lot of great jumpers as well.
A lot of great jumpers.
Yeah.
Have you seen all of the stuff about Matty Prior-Sparkus that's gone on?
I have.
I was like wondering whether we should talk about this or not, but I think it is worth
100%.
talking about.
Yeah.
So Matty Prior-Sparkus plays for Essendon, star player, like is constantly has a graphic made about her after every game about how many like contested possessions and goals and tackles she has. Like she's incredible, and she won the best and fairest in unfortunately the COVID years because she had to accept the award from home. Yeah. But she's like a star player. And she's just had some trolling around her body recently that she's pointed out and put on her social media saying that like this actually does really hurt. Yeah. And then she did an interview, a TV interview ahead of the season. I think it was for 7, must have been because they've got the broadcast rights. And she said that it is like body image is something that she struggles, and when she compares herself to other athletes, she can often feel not good enough. And so she scored a goal against the Suns on Sunday, and she lifted up her shirt and like pointed to her belly. And that was kind of her clapping back. And also saying like, this is my body and this is what it is. And she's obviously one of the best players in the competition.
Rip a snap. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. But I thought the panel on Talking W, that new show, handled this so well because you've got 3 past players on. So you had Abby Holmes, Kate McCarthy and Emma Carney. Yeah. And they can all talk from like their own experiences about this and something that they've all struggled with. But Kate McCarthy I think she was really good in saying like it is also really hard as a women's athlete because like women's bodies are already put under the microscope in society. But then as elite athletes, like especially if you're a midfielder and you're a midfielder that goes really hard at the contest, like you need to have muscle really, and to put on muscle you also in a woman's body put on size, and that can be really difficult. And it is this new space with that I think that with like women's sport on the rise, that it is also just like often women's sport is just treated like men's sport, where like it actually is different, and athletes need to be treated very differently, even when it does come to like how we discuss bodies, but also treat bodies and the expectations that are put on like elite athletes' bodies, because like it is their the tool.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, and at the bottom line, like you have absolutely no right to make any comment on anyone's body under any circumstance, really. So shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. I just want to see all these people go toe to toe with Matty Prior-Sparkus because she would put you on your ass.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no doubt. And you know, that's trolling to a T right there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, super disappointing, and it's sad that she had to deal with that.
It is. It is. And even just like the idea that like the best player in the comp still questions whether they're good enough.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. Heartbreaking, really.
It is.
Yeah.
We're at the halfway mark of the AFLW season.
Yeah, already. Incredible.
Well, we're past it.
Yeah, I mean, regular season almost done, right? But like finals, sure, halfway.
Yeah. D's no good. Sun's no good.
Nah.
Do you know where Essendon... Oh, actually, because there was a game last night and there's a game on right now...
Yeah, Essendon in 8th, is that right?
I hope they're still. Let's see. There's a good chance they've fallen out. Yeah, Melbourne play tonight against Adelaide, so I would also not be here if I was Broden, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, Essendon top 8. So given we're like halfway mark, do you reckon it would be better for Essendon to finish like 4th and then they would have to play like an Adelaide in round 1 or finish like 5th and they would have a better chance at beating like a St Kilda or a Freo?
I know you're doing a bit, but 100%. I genuinely think from here you'd be better off finishing 5th for sure. For sure.
And now we're going to finish 12th.
Yeah, I think that the top 4 is like genuinely scary. I mean, like Kangaroos and Brisbane both seem unbeatable, even though they have both lost games. While Kangaroos drew with Geelong. Hawthorn has been really good. Richmond have been really good as well. So and then of course there are good teams outside of the top 4 as well. So I don't think you want to. Yeah, I think if you're Freo, St Kilda, Essendon, maybe even if you're Geelong or Sydney or Port, you do not want to make the top 4. I don't think it'll be 100% an L week 1. I think
so scary. It's cool that historically you'd get to this point of the ladder and it would be Melbourne, Adelaide, Brisbane, top 3, no matter what. So to have North Melbourne, Brisbane, Hawthorn, then Richmond, top 4.
Yeah.
I know it's also a bit a bit topsy-turvy because of the condensed fixture. So Richmond's played already, but Adelaide haven't. So that's why Richmond are ahead of Adelaide on the fixture.
Right.
But still, it's so cool. Exciting to see different clubs.
100%.
The ladder just have a bit of a different look and feel. I like that.
Totally. And some of the huge Melbourne clubs down the bottom, which is not always good for the sport, but good for my soul. Carlton and Collingwood in the bottom 4, I'm all about it. If only Essendon can come down and join them, I'll be stoked.
Hey, yeah. There's time.
Yeah, there is time. Yeah.
And then it's trade period.
Yeah.
In the men's, which is, I feel like you either love trade or you don't. And you find it just a little bit exhausting. Yeah. Especially at the start because it's they feel trade radio, 24 hours a day.
Nothing is happening.
But no trades.
I think there's a correlation between Broden being in Japan and me giving the least fucks I've ever given about trade radio because
I bet.
That guy loves fucking trade radio.
Why?
I don't know. I think he thinks it's a little bit funny, but then genuinely enjoys it. And I think it's part of being a Melbourne fan for the last 15 years, basically, is that who are we getting? The Jack Watts, the Jack Trengroves, the Scullys. That's the most exciting part of your year almost. But I could not care less.
Well, yeah, it is interesting from a human interest perspective to be look at these people who have to fill radio for 12 hours a day about nothing.
You were talking about the players getting forced to move or wanting to get to a place. But yeah, these poor journalists having to fill 24 hours a day.
But just in the way that they do it is funny and interesting.
Yeah.
And it's it's like performance art. That's a better way rather than it being human interest. It's performance art.
Yeah.
You're literally watching performance art. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
But also makes you want to hit your head against the brick wall.
And I think the only other fun thing about this period of time is there are some fans, not all fans, who get more angry now than if their team loses 20 games in a row. This is the part where they're what? The Suns won pick 30 for Daniel Rioli?
I know, People get so mad.
They get so angry. And it's and then other people, people are really frustrated with some of the compo, the compo for Jack Graham, particularly Richmond fans, because, Richmond fans are Richmond fans. Jack Graham getting pick 31. They can't work it out when, Josh Battle was pick 8 and they're just furious about it and they can't work it out. And it's just wow, more passion in this time than the actual 24 games.
Also, Richmond are going to go into the draft with the best hand you've ever seen in your life.
Stacked.
I think it's okay that you got rid of Graham for something that wasn't
100%.
I think you're going to be okay.
Yeah. The only part I do find fun is the draft particularly. I think I'm more interested in the draft than the trades. The Suns, we got this academy guy, Larry Lombard, second in the 20 metre sprint, first I think in the 2K run. He won a VFL premiership at 16. That's fun to me.
Yeah.
What's the name of the projected number 1? Jagger Smith? I think it's Jagger Smith. That's sort of fun because it's these kids could be anything. They could be the next Chris Judd or whatever. So I think that's fun. But the trades are just, come on, girl. Just no trade radio and just announce it on the last day. Here's the 60 trades.
Summary.
Yeah. That was the thing that I was saying to someone the other day. In the NBA, sometimes it's drawn out for 6 months, right? James Harden wants to get to the Clippers and that's all you hear about every week is James Harden. But then sometimes it's just Karl Anthony Towns, a pick 1, who's played at Minnesota his entire career, has just been traded to New York Knicks. And no one saw it coming. It came out of nowhere and it's just fucking explosive. And the players themselves are on Twitter going what the fuck? And I think I love that. And there's 100 trades during the NBA season like that. with AFL, it's like everything's been coming and discussed
Yes, I
to the end of
know.
its life. Nothing's a surprise. Nothing's a bombshell, really. Like, okay, Dan Houston goes to Carlton. It's like, okay, maybe we thought it would be Melbourne for a while. Maybe we thought even Kangaroos could offer, or Collingwood. So it's interesting that he got to come, but really we've known that's happening for 6 months. So I would prefer bombshells.
Bombshell. That's true. Yeah, it does take all of the sting out of it.
It really
Being like,
does. It's everyone got to where they wanted just about.
Yeah. Oh, Bailey Smith went to Geelong? Really?
Oh, really?
Oh,
okay, yeah.
okay.
Yeah. People were making memes about that 2 years ago.
Yeah, you're right. That is a bit of a bummer.
But I'd hate to be negative. I feel like we've been negative all episode, but, it's also funny.
I mean, we did get that last season in AFLW when Chloe Malloy signed to Sydney, or the season before, signed to Sydney from Collingwood. That was a bombshell.
Yeah. That
fun. Was exciting.
Yeah. It's not that there's never bombshells, but they are super rare, I feel.
Do you care about Luke Parker wanting to go to North Melbourne?
Yeah, I think that's sick. Yeah. I had a few North fans who were very iffy on Jack Darling as well, but I think it's sick. I think it's
great for North.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely the right move. Like, and for Parker himself too, like, I don't know what the Swans were offering him. Do we know? Like, probably 1 or 2 years, right? Spent 6 weeks suspended this year, I think, and then couldn't get in and out of the team due to form and stuff. It makes so much sense. He'll play every single game at North, replace the leadership they've lost in Liam Shields, and he'll just be phenomenal there, and it'll be so good for them. And I think Jack Darling will be great too. If Jack Darling just goes there and runs around with the forwards and takes a bit of pressure off, who's their actual good forward?
Oh my goodness. Larky.
If you take some pressure off Larky, helps Combin develop, who cares? Like, these guys are probably not going to play in your next premiership, but fuck, who knows? Could be part of the key that unlocks XYZ to make it the next premiership. Who knows?
I was so excited for the way that sentence was going to finish. Like, key to unlock that, and then you're like, XYZ.
Yeah, just some more vagaries. But you know what I mean.
Jake Stringer wants to go to, well, it seems like he might be going to GWS. That he's like met with,
really?
Well, he met with Kingsley and he's met with the list manager. And so like, it's like the Giants are in talks with Essendon.
That's so interesting, because that's the one place where they're overflowing with small forwards, I would have thought. Not that Stringer's like a particularly small forward, but it feels like they actually have a lot of excitement and electricity around their forward line. So that's a surprise to me.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I was like, that would be a good move for Stringer, but
unless
GWS.
Yeah, because they got Darcy Jones, and then obviously I'm forgetting players' names already. It's only been like
same.
a week,
oh my goodness, same. I was like, I can see all these faces in my head.
Yeah, who's their other small forward who's a gun? Had one of the best games this year.
Cadman is. He's not small, but he's my favourite.
Wasn't Cadman? I forget. Maybe someone in the chat will know. No, there's nothing there. But yeah, they are losing a bunch though. So maybe it's to do with someone who they're losing, like Peatling or something. I don't know.
How many times do we have to hear Bailey Smith's going to go down to the wire? But Bailey Smith, that trade's going to go down to the wire. Yeah. So usually in these situations, I think I sit here and I go, well, it's just impossible. How's it going to get done? Like, there's not going to be enough. There's just no assets money assets. And then somehow it always gets done. So I guess that'll be interesting. But yeah, Geelong don't have a lot to offer, especially if they're still going over Clayton Oliver. I don't know if that's happening or what the go is there. Well, I mean, it's also just like how many times you just hear people say, that's a contracted player.
Yeah, I know, right?
You'd have to talk to management because that's a contracted player. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Are you talking to them or not? Yeah, I do feel bad that Clayton Oliver is just in the headlines still.
I know. It's like I'm sure there's a part, like at least partly it's, his actions that have led to that. But really, he seems like the one player who doesn't need all this bullshit, and he's getting it.
Yeah.
Every second day, it's like he's definitely leaving, and the next day, definitely 100% a contract required player.
I know.
It's like just flip-flopping daily, it seems like.
It does.
Poor Clayton.
He should go to Japan.
I mean, he should go to fucking Geelong.
He might be in Japan. Who knows?
Yeah, he should. Like, go to Geelong and just say goodbye to all the bullshit, because the media don't go down there.
Well, yeah.
But again, I don't know how Geelong would have to start giving up players and stuff, and I just can't see them doing it unless there's some that are desperate to get out, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. So
it doesn't.
I don't understand how they get all this stuff done.
John Worsfold is going to return to West Coast as the club's head of football. Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I love players going back to their players going back, people going back to the clubs that they've had so much success in and
totally
felt very much like part of their DNA.
Yeah.
Collingwood president Jeff Brown's going to step down at the end of the year.
Okay.
And Carlton have appointed Graham Wright, the former Collingwood and Hawthorn,
right.
as Brian Cook's successor as CEO.
Okay.
Lots of changes happening.
Yeah, and all the names that I've never heard of, but it sounds cool.
Yeah, I was like, this is interesting to some people, and then like people, some just who cares about CEOs?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that like I couldn't tell you who the CEO and president and stuff are at Gold Coast. Like I genuinely have no idea. But I also understand that it's very important. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and there are clubs that, you know, have got, like I think Melbourne particularly, right, got the right board, right president, right CEO in and then started making their changes, brought Paul Roos in and then really started digging themselves out of a really bad hole of debt and Jim Steins was there and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I understand it's really important, but it's also like, over the head.
Yeah. Well, Paul Roos said on the ABC podcast that getting Worsfold back to the Eagles was going to be the best acquisition of this whole period.
Wow, that's
big
huge
thing
props.
to say.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Should we tip?
Sure.
Tipping. Tipping.
Yeah, I just looked at the time. I was like, oh,
Tipping.
Broden's in the chat just quickly. He said, I want to contribute to all the conversations, but I'm in Japan. This was like the one time I tuned in to you guys on a Wednesday and I was like writing stuff in the chat and tipping in the chat.
oh yeah, you can tip in the chat and we can read it out.
Yeah, you can tip in the chat, Big Brod.
Yeah, big. It's Baby Throat Broden, actually.
Yeah, Baby Throat Broden. Thank you for getting on it. Broden says, Marnie has got an iced tea from the Auntie Donna fridge and apparently they're delicious.
Yeah, you've got, am I allowed to say this? You've got some, like a advertising person coming in tomorrow. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the office looks so good. It's so neat.
Yeah.
The fridge is full.
Yeah, full
There's
and stocked.
Snacks everywhere.
Yeah, we got to look good for the advertising people.
It's so clean.
Yeah. Fridge is always stocked.
Yeah.
You can always get a low sugar iced tea from the Auntie Donna office.
Yeah. It was actually a bit overwhelming, the amount of choice.
Yeah, it's nice. It is nice.
It was nice.
It feels really nice.
It was nice. Adelaide, Melbourne tonight. I think that the percentage would be, 90 people?
I've got 99% to 1% here. In Norwood as well, which is sick. I just want to... I wish I had no responsibilities. Could just get in the car.
Should we just get on a plane right now?
We should. Fuck my son. You know, that's
no, we'll bring him.
Yeah, okay, then I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think there's still the coolest thing about the W that I have not experienced enough is all these cool ovals.
Oh yeah, Adelaide vibe is just because they are very what's the word, fierce supporters.
Yeah.
They're so strong. They make when you go to an Adelaide game, there's so many posters of players and stuff. It's not we're going to an AFLW game. It's we're going to go watch the Crows play.
Yeah, 100%. And this would these are the sort of games that sell out over there, right? At Norwood.
Yeah, and especially usually because this would usually be top 2 clash.
Yeah, right.
But
not this time.
Not this time.
More of a Crows solidify their spot in the top 4 sort of match.
Nice. And Melbourne tumble further down the ladder.
Yeah.
Port Adelaide, speaking of good ovals with good atmospheres, are hosting Collingwood. Collingwood are also having a very tough year. They've had just the one win against you.
Yeah, against Gold Coast, robbed.
Yep. Well, I genuinely, because the AFL said, confirmed,
AFL
it
said
was a
robbed.
robbery.
Yeah, I genuinely, I hadn't got to talk to you about it. We spoke about it a little bit last week. Well, a lot last week with Georgia and Broden. But I'm surprised afterwards. I walked away from that conversation. I was like, actually, I'm surprised the AFL didn't overturn the result.
I don't think they can.
They just I don't
think that's something you can do. Yeah, once a result's a result, it's a result.
Locked.
Not to be a resultist.
Yeah, but no, I understand that. But at the same time, if it's the point is to back in this technology and they proved it went wrong, then I'm like, well, what's stopping them in a way? But yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
I get why they can't.
They just can't. But yeah, I do feel for the Suns, especially because if that was a game that decides top 2, then there's a lot of newspapers writing about that. And you know what I mean? There's a lot of noise being made about that because it's the Suns and the Suns aren't performing that well. it kind of just flew under the radar.
Oh, 100%. And like, yeah, even on that point, if it was 17th versus 18th in the men's, it would still be fucking
Exactly.
national
Everywhere.
news. Like, so yeah, people
Yeah.
just don't really care. Like, and I get it. I'm the only Suns fan out there.
Yeah, but I do. I do have, I don't know. Because, I mean, I think it's great that there is more technology being used in the AFLW, and it's not like someone just came to the AFL and said, hey, well, you can put a chip in the ball, and they went, okay, do it. It's like they did trial this out. They've trialed it out for ages. It's not like the AFLW is the first competition to be using this. They use it in the VFL and in community levels, but it does also have a feel, especially given the way that it's panned out, that the AFLW is being a bit of a guinea pig for this new technology.
100%.
Especially because it is something that they are thinking potentially bringing into the men's.
Yeah.
But they have to see the success of it first in the W. And it's like, okay, well.
Yeah, no, that's tough. But the only thing I would ask is, they said it was human error though, right? So it was like the misreading of the technology or something.
Well,
so
then make that more clear.
Yeah, or it's like, are you forcing people to use technology that they don't have training in or not enough support in, or are they feeling rushed?
Yeah.
Like that's where my mind goes. Because if it was, the technology was there and correct, and that's how we can look back in hindsight and be like, it was the wrong decision.
Yeah. Also, if it's new technology, don't blame the umpires. Oh my God.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, we can move on from that. I'm not salty by any means.
Well, you have every right to be, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
if that
totally.
was like, because if you're a fan of a men's team that had that happen, they would be so
Right.
you know what? All fans would feel they would be being told by the media and by people that, like, yes, it justified that you were mad about this.
Yeah.
Just because it's a woman doesn't mean that, like, you can be like, oh, well,
Yeah,
you
no,
can
you're
be mad about
you're
it.
absolutely right. I feel like I'm a pretty passive supporter in general, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Like I have the right to kick and scream.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Port Adelaide or Collingwood?
I think Port, right? But do you think Port at this point, would we say they're underperforming this year?
Oh.
So I feel like they're sick, right? But they've lost more games than they've won.
Yeah, they've had some hard games that they've performed quite well in. Who'd they last beat? West Coast. And West Coast are doing okay.
Yeah.
No, I think that also this is the third season of Port Adelaide in the competition, and they're still super young.
Yeah.
Because when they came in, it was a lot of young ones.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've been impressed by them.
No, fuck yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Not everything is always results based.
Exactly. Yeah.
We're not a results based focused podcast here.
We're vibes only.
We're vibes only, 100%.
We should do a premiership on vibes.
Yeah, I like that. Remember that for like 8 weeks from now.
Okay.
I'm so down for that.
Now it's the big one. Western Bulldogs taking on Essendon Bombers, headlining Pride round at Whitten Oval on Friday night.
Surely the Bombers get this done.
You would think.
Yeah. So Bulldogs, you thought were going to be really bad, and they've won those couple that have been really surprising, right? So
They actually have been looking all right, the Doggies.
yeah.
And the Doggies beat Sydney recently.
Yeah.
And Essendon only beat Sydney by 3 points last Wednesday.
Yeah.
So I would say I would pull Doggies and Essendon in kind of a similar boat
Yeah.
on current form.
Yeah. So I'm surprised on my tipping website, at least, it's 94% to Essendon.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But that was so strange because I feel like the Suns were also favourites against Essendon on Sunday. But I was like, no.
Nah, that makes no sense.
That makes no sense.
No. Interesting.
But yes, I'll be tipping Essendon.
Yeah, me too.
Hawthorn, West Coast at Frankston. 1 p.m. on a Saturday. That's nice if the weather's nice.
Yeah, which it won't be because it's down in Frankston, so it'll be like there's a hurricane or something going down there. But
Get out your puffer jackets in spring.
100%.
We're going to Frankston.
But yeah, Hawks for sure. All about the Hawks.
Yeah,
They're
Hawks
doing
are-
that whole Hawk Ball thing that the whole club seems to be doing.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
I like it.
Oh, but also the West Coast Guernsey is also really cool. They're
I
both
like the West
Guernseys.
Coast as well. Yeah. I
I was like, these
that.
are two, and also two very distinct bird jerseys going up
Yes.
against each other.
Yeah,
and I like
yeah.
that. That's very aesthetically appealing.
That is fun. Big birds.
Big birds. And speaking of animals going up against each other, we have the tigers taking on the cats. I'm going to tip the bigger of the two, the Tigers.
I was thinking Tigers as well. I feel like almost if it was at Geelong, you would tip Geelong maybe.
Yeah. But
like-
Richmond are looking
really
pretty
good.
decent.
Yeah.
And Geelong have been a little bit hit and miss.
Yeah,
Sometimes good, sometimes no.
Yeah, sometimes drawing with the unbeatable, but then other times losing to Melbourne.
Yeah.
Lost to Melbourne. Yeah.
No. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah.
That was round 1. Wow.
How do you get a read on it? I don't know. That's football.
I don't know. You got to stick them in an oven and see how flaky that croissant is.
Yeah, exactly right.
Oh, this is hard. Brisbane, Gold Coast in the Q Clash.
all I'll say is this could be the greatest Q Clash victory of all time. The most unexpected, the most hype, the best. But it's unlikely, isn't it?
I would say it's pretty unlikely.
Yeah. Is Brighton Homes Arena closer to Gold Coast or further away from Gold Coast in Brisbane? That's what we need to know.
Brighton Homes Arena is Springfield.
Is that north?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Because if it's north, that's bad.
I know
for
it's like
Gold
an
Coast.
hour out of the airport,
Yeah, right.
Brisbane Airport.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll need to do some geography work on that. 'Cause
Okay,
it could work out
you
for
come
the
back.
Suns.
Also,
could be closer to the Suns than Brisbane.
if you that's great. Like if you were to ask, is Gold Coast closer to New South Wales and Brisbane? I couldn't tell you.
I believe
Like
it
I
is.
don't know any. I'm really bad with geography.
The only reason I know that is because I believe Gold Coast is quite close to Byron Bay, which
Well,
is
then
in
why
New
didn't
South Wales.
Danaher play for Gold Coast if he wanted to live in Byron?
You're right. Let's get him on the phone.
Call him right now.
Yeah, this is exactly what we need is another hugely flaky, amazingly talented footballer because Ben King isn't flaky enough.
Oh, I honestly feel like Danaher is never going to pick up the call from a footy person ever again.
No,
in
I
his
don't
life.
think so either. Off into obscurity. As
But
they
we should
say.
see if he wants to play for Gold Coast.
Yeah, 100%.
Come out of retirement, play for the Suns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be tipping the Lions.
Yeah, I'll tip the Lions too. No, actually, I said I would tip Gold Coast for the rest of the year.
Have some faith.
They've got to win one.
They got to win.
So
Well,
I'm backing in the girls.
yeah.
They'll win one, maybe not this one. But they're going to win one this year.
Yeah.
We can't have a winless season. Well, you can.
Especially
but-
like to go from finals to winless, like that sucks.
Yeah, and just from the eye test, seemingly not that much worse, which makes me wonder if we just got a tougher run this year. Obviously, some unlucky decisions, and then we also had some luck last year as well. So yeah, it's interesting. I from my eye, I haven't been like, oh God, we're awful this year. Like watching Richmond sometimes this year, you were like in the men's, you were like,
Yeah.
oh my God. Like, I haven't felt like that personally, but we're still losing every week. So yeah, sad.
Yeah. Fremantle, Carlton.
Yeah, so Carlton aren't doing very well.
No.
So let's go Freo for sure.
Yeah, Freo are doing quite well.
Mm.
North Melbourne, the Sydney Swans.
Down in Tassie as well.
Yeah, Sydney have had the kind of wheels fall off, especially with injuries. And their like main ball getter has just done a hand injury, Laura Gardner. So she's
really?
out for the season, I
Oh,
believe.
that's brutal.
It's like 5 weeks and they're not making finals.
Yeah.
So yeah, she'll be out for the season.
So Kangaroos' percentage is 311. Obviously, that would be
Mad.
funny, haha, after like 1 or 2 rounds, but we're 7 rounds in now.
That is actually
It's absurd. And after this
They're
weekend, it
not
could be
here to
higher.
fuck around.
Yeah. It's so crazy. If it's just like 40-10, like it just keeps sustaining, right?
Yeah, I reckon the Kangas could win this by like 50 points.
Yeah. That's fun. I sort of like a slaughter every now and then.
There's a
fun.
lot in the W this year.
Yeah.
A lot of blowout.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, I'm all for it. Yeah, definitely North.
I wish, good for Hobart and Tassie to get their games.
Yeah.
But I reckon that would go off at Arden Street, 1 p.m. on a Sunday, North v Sydney.
You're right. That's the
That-
sort of one I would go down and try and hit. Like, yeah, that's like perfect for me personally. That's
Same.
perfect hit up time. Yeah.
Also, light, like that lighter blue and white v red and white is so nice to the eye.
100%.
And there'll be any chance you won't be able to see because it'll be raining
Yeah.
in Tassie.
All right. I missed a call from Broden.
Oh, should we pick it up?
Should I call him back?
Yeah.
We'll see what he has to say.
Okay.
I'll put him on loudspeaker. I want to ask him how Japan is.
Ask about the cream thing.
Broden's son.
Hi,
Oh.
Broden. How are you?
Oh my God, how do you say
What
hello
a
in
wonderful
Japanese?
episode you're all doing on the pod.
Konnichiwa.
Oh, konnichiwa.
Yeah.
Watashi no namae wa Mani desu. Genki desu ka?
Do you speak English?
How is the cream sandwich? Everyone in the chat wants to know the full review.
Well, I know that not to be true, as I am of the chat. I am a chat man.
Is it just you?
I will answer your question. There was what happened. This is the true story. Can I have the floor for 30 seconds?
Sure.
There's lines everywhere for fucking everything because the Japanese love to have a fucking lineup. Mm-hmm. And so I get to this sandwich shop, which is famous on YouTube for doing fried cream sandwiches. And there's no line. And there was a girl standing there and she had a rage jumper on. And I was like, oh, wow, she got a rage jumper. And it must have opened up the Australian synapses in my head because I went, oh. And then I went to line up and someone went, no, this is not the line. This is the line, and gestured to across the road. There was a 3-hour line for these cream sandwiches. And I'm like, Japan is a very quiet place. You're not supposed to be loud at all. And I've been trying to make myself very small as possible. And I looked at the line and went, oh, fuck, at full volume, because the rage jumper, I think, opened up in my head the Australianism. And then in the line, at the front of the 3-hour line, was Giorgio from Kick It Forward, who's there on a holiday.
What the hell?
And he was like, Broden. And then so I hopped at the front of the line with him. I went, fuck you all, this is my friend. And so I got the cream sandwich and I bit into it. As I told you, imagine like a crispy toasted cheese sandwich, like really buttery and crispy. But then in the middle is this beautiful fresh cream that juxtaposes the two. It cost me like the equivalent of $2.50 Australian.
You got to bring me one home, man.
No, well, it wouldn't travel well. I didn't travel well from buying it to my tummy, to my lower colon.
I told the whole podcast about your toilet travels.
Yeah, no, it really. What I didn't tell you as well, and like this might be too much for a podcast where there's been some really deep and insightful thoughts about Pride Round and the Guernseys and what they mean, and also about all the trade stuff. But it might not be. But like for lunch, I had a carbonara in Japan, and so. But it had like fish elements to it, like they were using all this umami as a salty element to it. So I had a fishy umami, and then coupled that with a creamy sandwich.
Yeah, I would have died. Legitimately, I would have been so unwell.
Yeah, I can imagine that might be the way. If you find out you have a terminal illness, Tom, maybe we get you a creamy fishy carbonara and pair that with a cream sandwich and just see what happens.
At least I die happy,
Yeah. And Marnie, how come you're so fluent in Japanese?
I did Japanese in high school.
Yeah, nice.
And my mum speaks it.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yep.
Can you translate for me? I've been using on Google Translate a lot, but my main phrase I've had to learn or show people is I am sorry for being a gigantic white silly man.
I don't know that. Sorry.
Yeah, right.
That's
all right.
funny.
Well, great show, everyone. I'll see you all next week.
All right, we'll see you next week, Rodney.
Bye, baby throat, Broden.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
So St Kilda, Melbourne.
That sandwich sounds fucking horrible.
Oh, I will send you the TikToks.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a few things to send you. I got some funny stuff to send you.
All right.
Since I've backed in St Kilda, they haven't been playing as well, but they did get a win. What, yesterday? Yes, yesterday. So I'm going to back in St Kilda against Melbourne.
Yeah, GWS, which are, with all respect, easy beats.
Yep.
And now they're playing Melbourne. That's a good run home. They've got a good run home.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I'll tip Saints.
Yeah, this could be a real close one. Could go either way.
At RSEA too, which is a vibe. We should actually, if you're not doing anything, this would also be a really good one to bring Addie to because they have so much like fun food.
Okay, which one's RSCA?
So that's 3 p.m. on Sunday, Saints D's.
But I'm sorry, it's Moorabbin.
Yeah.
Right, fun. Yeah, I'm totally down for that.
And they've got a Ferris wheel.
Oh, yeah. Lock me in.
Sweet.
I'm so down for that, especially if you're there.
Yeah.
And you're like, look, here's my son.
I will. I'll take him on the Ferris wheel. I'll get him some straw because they've got strawberry, like chocolate strawberries,
Ooh.
just like little containers of them. I'll just fill him with sugar and then put him on the Ferris wheel.
He'll love that.
Great.
Do you need to live blog for the ABC or are those days behind you?
Well, I will have to at some point, but at the moment I'm Monday to Friday.
Fuck yeah. All right. Yeah, party time. Yeah, that's awesome.
So we just absolutely trashed on the hill at RC.
Give me his son. I got strawberries for him.
And they've got a pasta wheel.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That's cool.
Yep.
I'm really into that. Yeah, that
Don't really
sounds
know
such
what a
vibe.
pasta wheel is, but
Neither
I've got
do I,
one.
but I imagine like a wheel of pasta.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you know how they put the pasta on the wheel?
Also, they've got all of this really cool food that they've put a lot of like thought into.
Yeah.
There's a good chance we'll just end up in the Red Rooster.
Yeah.
Hole in the wall.
100%. Yeah.
Good seasoning.
Yeah. I read your friend Sophie's article on all the best feeds to get around the different grounds around Australia.
Lovely.
It was a great article.
She's great.
Yeah.
GWS Adelaide. Well, Adelaide.
Adelaide for sure. Even though very short turnaround for Adelaide, or am I imagining it?
Well, yeah, Adelaide play tonight and then they play again Sunday. But GWS also
Played yesterday.
they played yesterday.
So AFL, despite their awful fixturing, have done a decent job of making sure it's never like one team's got an ultra short turnaround and the other doesn't, hey?
They all have 4.
Yeah.
Is the shortest.
Yeah. But it's not like someone's had 7 and someone's had 4. Usually it's like
Sure.
someone's had 5, someone's had 4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Still, awful fixturing.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that's our podcast for the week, unless there's anything else, Marns.
No, I think that's all good.
Great. Do your closing statement and take us away.
What does Broden usually say?
He says something about like enjoy the footy this weekend. I hope you're going well. Enjoy the weather and bounce that pill.
Get your brightest rainbows out and head to the footy.
Yeah.
It's pride round.
Yeah, I love that.
All right. Have a good weekend, everyone. We love you. Bye.
Awesome. Great. Still alive? Great podcast, Marns.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We spoke for fucking ages.
We did. I was, because also I was a little bit worried that I didn't have enough newsy stuff, but I was like, I feel like I could talk about
Oh, yeah,
pride for a
totally.
while.
No. I feel like this is the round to do it. Like, let's go in.
Are there people, what's the number? Are there people watching?
Of course. There's a couple of hundred by the looks of it.
Oh, that's so nice. I was a little bit worried that there would be a big drop off with footy fatigue that sets in.
There definitely is a little bit. I won't lie to you. Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think the true fans
The
are
true
here
ones.
tuning in every week. Still, the true fans have missed us so much. Someone said, "Cool shirt, Marnie." R.I.P. Broden's intestines.
Oh, truly.
Hawks fans here, and you best believe I got one of the Pride Guernseys the moment it came out.
It's
I also
very
have last year's. Fuck yeah, Patrick. I just said Patrick, and the word is Patrick.
Okay.
Patrick.
Patrick.
Is the chip and the ball magnetic? Saw a few post shots last week. I don't know how it works.
Well, it's just like censored, so they can tell if it like hits the post or
Right.
it hits anything. 'Cause
Yes,
it's got a sensor in it.
It's like just motion sensor or whatever.
Yeah, and like it's tracked, straight tracked. So if someone was to steal the ball, they could find it. They could get the police on
that's
them.
fun. I, for some reason, thought it would be like, you know, the GPSs the players wear are
Yeah.
really accurate. So I thought
Yeah.
it would have GPS as well. So
Yeah, I
like-
think it does.
Yeah, right. Okay, so it's got all the gizmos and gadgets.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I like it. It's also school holidays after AFL. It's out of routine, so I don't listen to you guys as regularly. That makes sense.
That's fun.
Yeah, school holidays is a thing. Greg says, great podcast.
Thanks, Dad.
The pill never stops. The true fans are always here for the pill and the pill dancers. Yeah, I think that's about right.
Yeah.
All right, should we leave it there, Marnie? It's a good hour and a half of podcasting from me and you.
I'm a bit tired.
Yeah, you can get out of here.
See ya. Bye, everyone. We love you a lot.